Hello friends. I know that it's been a total of 4.3 seconds since my Rainbow Six Siege video, but this game just keeps on, it just keeps on making me angry even when I'm not even fucking playing it. It's really annoying because I've been playing the fuck out of Division 2 and really liking it, but Ubisoft keeps doing the dumbest shit and pissing me off. It's like every time I see Ubisoft make someone happy by giving them candy, I found out they beat the shit out of someone and stole that candy from them. If you haven't seen my R6 video, please give it a watch because not only am I horny for those views, but I also ended that video with a short segment talking about the insane toxicity that pervades Rainbow Six Siege. In this video, I want to talk a bit more about just toxicity and the reason why it's so excessive in R6 in particular. I can't believe I paused work on 2 other videos that coincidentally also have to do with Ubisoft games, one that I greatly enjoy and one that I cannot stand. I paused working on those videos to make another video on Rainbow Six Siege because of the compounding amount of shit that the R6 team keeps pulling. Okay, so first things first. For those who did skip my video on R6, I'm going to explain why toxicity is such a problem in this game in particular. For those of you unaware, Rainbow Six Siege is a strategy, team-based first-person hero shooter that is supposed to focus on being realistic while also having characters with fucking nanomachines, son, and characters that are literally just silent ninjas. The realism doesn't come from the actual character abilities though, because let's be real, most of them are fantasies. The realism comes from the fact that the damage is more realistic. Any bullet can kill any character with a headshot, and it only takes a few bullets to kill each person without a headshot. Another realistic thing about this game is that friendly fire is always on, meaning you can hurt teammates with your bullets or explosives or gadgets. See, that's the thing that distinguishes this game from other toxic hero shooters like Overwatch. In Overwatch, you can be toxic and belligerent and chat all you want, but the worst you can do is not heal someone or support them when they need backup. In Rainbow Six Siege, not only can you be toxic in chat, but you can team kill someone. And because of how R6 works, if you get team killed, you need to wait until the entire next round before you can play again, which can take several minutes depending on when you get team killed. Now that that is out of the way, it's time to talk about the actual changes that have been made in this game to try to combat toxicity. I was going to say progress, but progress would mean that things were getting better. The changes to combat toxicity in R6 is more like taking a few steps forward, taking hundreds of steps back, limping forward a little bit more before falling flat on your ass. When the game first came out, and for a few years actually, there wasn't anything to do to combat toxicity in R6. They didn't even have a report for toxicity option. You could just get team killed by the same person over and over and over and get called horrendous things over and over and over until you just left the game or stopped playing altogether, like I did in mid-2016. Call me a pussy, tell me I have thin skin, but when every other match ended with me being targeted for being a girl and then team killed without any repercussions, it gets very old very fast. And when I say there was nothing you could do about toxicity, I mean nothing. Other than team killing back, which is not very productive in a game that is based entirely around being cooperative with teammates. The game just had no version of reporting for a very long time. And finally, more than like a whole ass year later, Ubisoft decided to make it so if you team killed someone more than once, you would get immediately kicked from the match and a 30-minute ban. This helped things a little bit, preventing being constantly team killed by the same person. But what this didn't prevent was being team killed once, and then having one of their buddies team kill you, and then having their other buddy team kill you, which in some casual matches means you just don't get to play the game. This also doesn't prevent another huge problem with this system. Someone could team kill you once and then at the start of every round knock your health down to almost nothing, and an enemy would be able to take you down very easily. The system has been running since it was incorporated, but a few things changed around it. A few seasons ago, the report for suspicious behavior button was changed to a report for toxic behavior, because Ubisoft upgraded their anti-cheat system. However, both buttons have done nothing since being added. Someone could get reported dozens of times, and nothing would be done about the toxic person. Not only that, but if, once in a blue moon, someone did get removed or banned, temporarily or not, you had no way of knowing. That's one of the few things that Overwatch had over R6. When you reported someone in that game and they were removed, you were told about it. See, while I don't think Overwatch is even close to a toxic-free environment, it was considerably less toxic than R6. And that's because bans were actually happening. When someone was toxic in Overwatch, if they got reported more than 3 times, someone would review the bans and keep an eye on them. If they kept getting reported, then they would receive temp bans before being banned from the game completely. In Rainbow Six, that just never happened. I've reported dozens of people for harassing me, team killing, or just being toxic in general, and I have no idea if anything actually happened. But not only that, but it's well known that reporting does almost nothing. It's basically a meme at this point. Now, our story doesn't stop here. Ho ho, not even close. About a year ago, Ubisoft was proud to announce this new feature in their game. People who use slurs and text chats would be receiving instant 30-minute bans. I personally don't have a problem with this addition. Being a racist or edgy little shit isn't something that one does by accident. When the system was first implemented, there were a lot of times where people kept trying to get other people to write things that were slurs but spelled a little differently so they would get banned, but after a few weeks, everyone noticed these dumb tricks immediately and it hardly ever happened. The system really helped thinning the toxic herd and prevented people from being that type of toxic in chats. Sure, there were loopholes like using slashes to type out the N in the N-word. I never said the system was perfect, but it definitely did help. However, this system was a problem to Ubisoft because not only did it not function well and people were still complaining about toxicity, but the way these systems worked meant that people were being stopped from playing their game. And if people were being stopped from playing their game, that meant Ubisoft wasn't making as much money as possible. So after a few months of saying they were proud to be banning toxic players from their game, Ubisoft retracted this insta-banning slur system. Instead, they replaced it with just blocking the message out and not sending it at all. This means that people who were being toxic weren't receiving any punishment at all for doing the things that they were doing. Not only that, but they didn't even bother trying to block the loopholes that people found, like typing the slur out one letter at a time, or using punctuation symbols instead of letters to continue writing out the slurs. Like I said before, the system certainly wasn't perfect. Ubisoft weren't transparent about what was happening. They never said exactly what words were banned, so sometimes people would say things and get randomly banned. The bans were also never explained when they did happen. I had a friend who got banned for using the word spicy, which we assumed was because it had the word spick in it, which is a slur for Latinx people. However, a little while later, we saw people using that word. Not the slur, the word spicy. So we had no idea if that was why he was banned or not. Ubisoft should have published a complete list of all the banned words because racist and toxic people are going to say them regardless, so other people who aren't toxic can know not to type out certain words because they have banned words in them. Like the word Nigeria would lead to a 30-minute ban, which is pretty dumb because someone could type out the letters N-I-G-G-E-R in separate messages, and that's perfectly fine apparently. But it's not like that matters anymore anyways because it was completely removed in favor of just not letting the messages go through. Not only are they censoring slurs, they're also censoring certain swear words like the word cunt, which is kind of weird since they didn't censor other swears. I wouldn't say that calling someone a cunt is worse than calling someone a bitch or a pussy. It's like the same exact word. Moving on from that, regardless, I'm going to be talking about the whole reason why I decided to make this video. Ubisoft decided to make another change to try to combat toxicity, and they should be. They should be constantly trying to make changes. But shockingly, this new proposed system isn't going to do shit. So what is this new system? Well, if you team kill someone, the dead player can now determine whether or not to activate reverse friendly fire after being team killed and determining whether or not it was malicious. What is reverse friendly fire? Well, if it's activated, that means that the person who team killed you can no longer harm their teammates, and if they try to, all the damage will bounce back onto them. The system is completely dumb. It's not going to do shit to combat toxicity. Now, teammates are just going to hurt you until your health is knocked down to nothing again. Sure, you won't get team killed as much, but people will find and exploit loopholes like they did with the insta-banning. And because of how Ubisoft works, they're going to incorporate the system and then never try to tweak it or make it better. It will remain there for months before they come up with another idea and completely change it again. The thing that pisses me off the most about this is that they completely removed the only system that they had to actually punish toxic people. Sure, if you try to shoot someone after reverse friendly fire is turned on, you'll be injured instead, which is hardly a punishment. Punishment comes in the form of banning people. If people aren't getting the things they like taken away from them, they aren't going to stop being toxic. There will be no real punishment of any form. They left a little ambiguity note saying that they would be monitoring team killing, but they haven't been monitoring their reporting system very much, so I don't have much faith in believing they'll actually be monitoring these things. Regardless, I'm willing to bet that the actual amount of team killing will go down. This will just bring the rise of people sabotaging their teammates instead by destroying their health bar or their gadgets. And this will be a problem for months until Ubisoft does anything to try and improve things because that's how they've always done things. Something will be a problem for such a long time that Ubisoft will finally make changes months later. I don't know, I'm just annoyed at this specific change because they're completely removing the only real fucking punishment. So brainloaded Ubisoft thought that if people were getting banned, that means that less people are playing their game. I meant that means less pennies, and Ubisoft could smell those pennies.
What the hell? I smell pennies!
So what can we do? If I don't propose a solution to this problem, then this will be an unnecessarily negative video. And God knows I don't want to be a negative person. I'm not negative, I would never. So what can we do? First off, just fucking clean the slate. Remove everything that Ubisoft has ever done. First things first, bring back the insta-banning for using slurs. Ubisoft needs to be completely transparent and publish a full list of the slurs and words they banned so players don't accidentally use them. They would then need to monitor chats and learn the loopholes that people are finding and constantly change and add to the ban list. Then, instead of needing to wait to be team killed to do anything, make it so that there is a threshold of damage. If you accidentally team kill someone, or if you somehow manage to hit a teammate for more than 100 damage over the course of a game, that person deserves the right to just immediately kick you. If you get kicked more than once in the span of 24 hours, you get a 1-hour ban. If you get banned more than 3 times in a week, then you get a 24-hour ban. If you receive more than 5 24-hour bans, you're completely banned from the game. The system may seem unforgiving, but I think I've accidentally team killed someone a total of 10 times in my almost 900 hours of playing. Occasionally, you can accidentally shoot a teammate while trying to get a drone, but it hardly ever results in a team kill and happens pretty rarely, so you don't need to worry about accidents very much. Plus, if you're just playing with friends and fucking around at team killing, they should have the option to forgive them. You can even forgive people if you see the kill cam and notice that it was an accident that you got team killed. This took me, a single person who wasn't being paid to do this, a total of 10 minutes to come up with. Want to know why it wasn't that difficult for me? I'm not thinking about how much money I'm making. I don't care if Ubisoft is losing a little bit of money by banning toxic idiots from their game because, to be frank, if you're going to be a consistent toxic idiot to other people, you don't deserve the right to play the game. Not too long ago, I played a match where, within the first few minutes, a boy no older than 15 said the N-word in the voice chat. I don't remember why, but usually these people don't need a reason why, they're just trying to be edgy and annoying. So I, like the angry libtard I am, decided to call him a racist little bitch. He then proceeded to say, "Who are you talking to?" And I replied with, "You, motherfucker." And then after a few moments, to recover himself, he said, "Well, I have freedom of speech." And I replied with, "Okay, that means I have the freedom to call you a racist little bitch, you racist little bitch." He then got salty and left the match, but that experience reminded me of something. Sure, in most developed countries you have freedom of speech, but the game of Rainbow Six Siege isn't a country. It is a privately owned and sustained game, meaning that Ubisoft reserves the right to ban anyone from their game for any reason, and the fact that they aren't banning people rightfully is crazy to me. Since day one, rampant toxicity has been a problem, and Ubisoft seems to be thinking about their wallets first before their players, which is, shocking. Ubisoft has never done that before. So, here we are. We players are stuck in a limbo where we just need to take what Ubisoft is giving us because it's clear they really don't care what players say because players aren't and never have been their priority. Hey, my name is StarlightSam.